So what is survivor? Basically, survivor is you just want to live. Anything that will make you stay alive is survivor. Based on my research, there are two kinds of survivor. We have, number one, we have physical survivor. Number two, we have psychological survivor. Physical survivor is basically, I don't want to die. That is physical survivor. Everything that we do as humans, it traces down to survivor. This is how our brain is wired. The brain is wired to protect us from anything that will affect our state of survivor. Even if you know that this step that I want to take will lead me to the dream life, but it's going to take something from me, you rather, the brain will force you to don't do it. An example is bodily fitness, physical fitness. You want to become fit. That is like a goal on a micro level. But getting fit comes as a cost. And the cost is basically exercising regularly. But why do people struggle to exercise? Exercising is a strenuous physical activity that causes a lot of pain to your body. So the brain by default will do everything possible to discourage you from exercising because it takes a lot of mental strength to carry weight that is heavy continuously. The underlying thing I'm trying to explain is that today we're going to be talking about something very, very important, something that I consider very, very important topic as it relates to our personal growth and advancement in life. And that's what I call the survivor trap. So there's a question that keeps running through my mind whenever I think about this. And that question is, why do large majority of people settle for less? Like why do a lot of people, large majority, are comfortable holding on to what feels safe in the immediate, like now? And there was a time, I think that was in 2024, when this subject was very, very strong in my spirit. There was a time I was discussing with a friend, and I was asking, I was like, guy, why do people, like, in the entirety of my life as an adult, I've seen things, I've observed things, I've experienced things, I've seen people. And there are sometimes I would just see people, I'll see somebody on a particular sport, right? And coming maybe in the next, maybe 5 years after, 10 years after, you see that person on that same spot. And you'll be wondering, is it that this person is not thinking about leaving this sport, or what the problem is? It was really a burden. And I remember that period, I had to take time to go and, maybe research about it, study about it. Like, why do large majority of people settle for less? And that question is what we're going to be looking into, which is what I titled the survivor trap. So, but first of all, I would like to build a foundation for us to understand properly the effect of this and for us to make the best use of it. As humans, I believe that we should grow and evolve. And I also believe that everybody is fighting towards a life, a kind of life. And that kind of life is like the dream life in quotes. I'm fighting towards a kind of life, which I would consider a dream life. I believe you too the same. You are fighting towards a kind of life that you consider a dream life. It is relative to everybody. My dream life can be, I want to have a lot of money. Your dream life can be, you want to touch a lot of lives. That could be your dream life. So, but that doesn't change the fact that everybody is racing towards that dream life, right? But the difference is that we all have different dream life. But I believe everybody should have that dream life that they are racing towards. So if you look at that, which means there are two positions. So the dream life is position B, which is usually futuristic, because you are racing towards something and you might have envisioned, but you are racing towards it with the hope that you will get that life in your lifetime right on earth. Then position A rather, is where you are right now in time, which is position A. So between position A and position B, there's a gap. So that gap is usually what you choose to do to get to that dream life, right? So I want us to start from this foundation, which means everyone should have a dream life that they are racing towards. I believe God brought us to this world because of this purpose. For some, this could be purpose. Every human that God created has a purpose. I have my purpose. What that purpose is, I might know that purpose, I might not. For some people, Some people already know their purpose in life, why some don't know their purpose. But they know that they shall want to get to somewhere in life. And that's why I tag it as what? The dream life, right? So if this is our dream life and we are here, a lot of people are comfortable here. Because you see the space between our dream life and where we are currently. That space is called the unknown. It's like a battlefield. To some people, that space is like the unknown. It is very frightening to them. So it's like a battlefield. Imagine you go into a battlefield. You know what to expect in a battlefield. You can get hit by a stray bullet. You can get destroyed by a bomb. Those are the things that you expect when you are in a battlefield. So for some people, in the context of what we're discussing, some people prefer to hold onto this life because it feels safe, as opposed to journey towards this life of the unknown, which is like the dream life. But they don't want to go through the stress of going through this battle, which is basically the unknown. And that's the question that we are trying to answer in today's teaching. So when I was digging deep when I went forward to research about why do large majority of people settle for less, what I found out was what I called survivor trap. Now, we're going to look into the survival trap. Now, looking at position A and position B, we have two categories of people. Number one category of people are people who will do anything to go through this life. So let me call them the Avengers. Or let me call them the pursuers, yes. For the sake of our class, I'll call them the pursuers. They are the people who will do anything to get to this life, the better life. Why some, they know that this life exists, but they are contented with being at this level as long as they are still living, as long as they are having something to pass by with. Right? So I'll call those people the stagnants. Or let me just say stagnant. I don't know if there's anything like stagnantants. But I'll just call them the stagnants for the sake of this class. So we have two categories of people. Now, I want us to dwell like fully on this first set of people. Why do these people choose to remain at this position even when they know that there's more here? This is the reason. Survivor. So the reason why a lot of people are content in a certain kind of life, even if it's not the kind of life that they want, the reason is because of this survivor. And at the end of it, it's a trap. So what is survivor? We know what survivor is. Basically, survivor is you just want to live. Anything that will make you live, anything that will make you stay alive is survivor. But I realized that based on my research, there are two kinds of survivor. We have, number one, we have physical survivor. And number two, we have psychological survivor. Physical survivor is basically you want to stay alive. You don't want to die. I don't want to die. That is physical survivor. An example would be rain is falling. Why do people run away from rain and go inside and look for shelter where rain is falling? I mean, water is sweet now. You can decide to stay under the rain and have a good bath. We usually do that when we're younger. Bath inside the rain, naked, happy. But you realize that a lot of the time, people run away from rain. Why? Because anything can happen under that rainfall. You see that because of the wind, something does happen. A tree get loose and hit you. You see that because of the cold, you fall sick and die. So if you dig deep into that, you realize that it is survivor. I realize that everything that we do as humans, it strays down to survivor. It is not bad. This is how our brain is wired. The brain is wired by default to shield us from anything that will cause us harm. In that sense, the brain is wired to protect us from anything that will affect our states of survivor. And that's why the first type of survivor is physical. You will do anything as a human, as an animal, you will do everything possible to stay alive. Even if you know that this step that I want to take will lead me to the dream life, but it's going to take something from me. You rather, the brain will force you to Don't do it. An example is your dream is to become fit. Bodily fitness, physical fitness. You want to become fit, right? What people consider today as going to the gym, exercising. That is like a goal. On a micro level, it's a goal, right? I don't want to put that as a dream life. That is like a goal on a micro level, getting fit. But getting fit comes as a cost. And the cost is basically exercising regularly. But why do people struggle to exercise? What is exercising? Exercising is a strenuous physical activity that causes a lot of pain to your body. So the brain, by default, will do everything possible to discourage you from exercising because it takes a lot of mental strength. It takes a lot of mental strength to run. It takes a lot of mental strength to carry weight that is heavy continuously. Me, I'm an athlete. So whenever you are playing football, I play football a lot. I like to play football. Whenever you are playing football, it takes a lot of mental capacity to run around the field for 90 minutes, for 60 minutes, or for 90 minutes. It takes a lot of mental strength and physical strength. That doesn't happen overnight. You must have gone through a lot of recurrent training process. You are used to shorter runs. You are used to long runs. You are used to jogging. Those are the things that accumulate to what constitutes of your strengths as a footballer on the pitch. But the underlying thing I'm trying to explain is that the brain usually pushes us away from anything that will bring strain to the brain itself. And that is survivor. That's why we say that we have two types of survivor. Physical survivor. So people tend to be okay with what they have, even if it's not where they want to be because of this. And secondly, we have psychological survivor. What is psychological survivor? Psychological survivor is when you are trying to protect your beliefs, when you're trying to protect what makes you who you are, your belief, your experience, the things that you know, that is psychological survivor. So anything that will make you want to run away, or anything that will make you want to do or go against what you believe is a threat. We can call that as ego sometimes. That's what ego is. Ego is, I know this thing, there's nothing you can tell me. That's like you don't want to let go of your whole belief. It's survivor. Because you feel that when you let go of that belief, it's going to affect a part of you. That's your brain trying to say, no, I love this state I am currently. It's survivor. So the question is, why do people like to hold on to that life that is not where they want to be? It's because of this survivor, and it's a trap. How is it a trap? Now, let's say, for example, now let me use myself as an example. You know, I've always told this story every time I had the opportunity to. The story of working in a cyber cafe, you know, as a computer operator, doing that for a period of time before I started my journey as a software engineer or as a career, right? But what I've not really shared is what got me to that spot at the first place, working as a cyber cafe operator. Before I made that decision, I was living with my aunt, right? I was living with my aunt. I was getting free food. I had a roof over my head, right? So that is my point A. Could have said, no, I'm living with my aunt. She probably cannot throw me out of the house because she's my aunt, right? She's giving me food. So what else do I need? But no, I realized that there's a better life ahead of me. I know that if I take the extra step to push further, I will get to this life. Why? Because I knew that I had responsibilities that I needed to take care of if I didn't push towards this life. I saw that if I don't get towards this place, there's going to be a problem. Right? You see that I didn't stop here, even though I was here. I was seeing that there's a possibility for me to get out of this place if I make a move. So what did I do? What move did I make? I started looking for where I can learn simple skills so that I can get a job. That was what brought me to that state of working at the cyber cafe, because I started learning computer applications like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Mavis Bacon, how to type very fast, CorelDRAW. These were the things I had to do for me to be able to get that spot working as a cyber cafe operator, which my career started from. So you see the difference? Maybe I will not be where I am today if I didn't take that decision. Because why? My brain was fooling me that, come on, guy, you have a roof over your head now. What else do you want? You are eating food. What else do you want? Are you not surviving? Come on. You don't need to... But I have to move out of this comfort zone, got a small place that looks like a bathroom on my own, started building from there. So you see the difference? I saw that there's a better place to go, but I didn't hold on to where I was at the time. So when I was looking into all of this, there's a principle I came across. That principle is called the principle of unequal distribution. So what the principle states is that the principle states that for every event, 80% of the effect comes from 20% of the cause. 80% of the effect comes from 20% of the cause. What does this mean? There's a law of the universe called cause and effect. It means that for every outcome that you see, for every event, every outcome, every effect. So the effect now is like the outcome is what you see. For every successful person, the cause of that effect, if you take that effect as 100%. So what caused this outcome is usually 20% of the effort of the 80% that you see. That's what this unequal distribution is. It means that for every effect that you see, usually 20% is what causes that effect. It's not usually, you don't need 100% effort for you to get 100% results. What you need is just 20%. 20% is enough to give you that 100% effort that you're looking for. And in that same light, that principle is most times is also called the Matthew principle. If you look at, there's a scripture in Matthew chapter 25, I think verse 29. That scripture states that for those who have many or those who have plenty, more will be given, right? I think you guys know that scripture. And for those who have little, more will be taken from. What does that scripture mean? Say for those who have more, say more will be given. For those who have little, more will be taken. In my own human understanding, I will say that person who gets small, that is supposed to give plenty. Nobody who gets small. But that law is telling us that. He's telling us that life rewards expansion and life punishes stagnation. That's what that law is saying. Guys, this is scary. God is saying that I will not reward you if you stand in one place. No matter what you have, your reward will not come by staying in one place. For your reward will come by what? Movement. Movement to what? This destination B. So in that same scripture, in that same passage, you guys know now the parable of the talents. The master gave 3 of his servants, 1 5, 1 2, and 1 1. What happened? The one that he gave 5 and 2, they went and doubled what they gave to them. And the last one did what? He did nothing with it, buried it. It's the same light. You see, this is I'm explaining. These are principles of life. This is how life works. So that life rewards expansion and life punishes stagnation. But people don't know this. And this is a survival trap. A typical example would be a vulcanizer who has a spot. What does the vulcanizer do? They pump tire for cars and they purchase tire for cars, right? A vulcanizer who has been on his spot, a small spot. You know the way those vulcanizer spots usually is. 1 machine, 2 tires. You know, you fix car for somebody. You do that for year 1. You do that for year 2. You do that for year 3. You do that for year 4, year 5. 10 years, you are still at that same spot. Like, what is happening? Because no matter how big your vulcanizer shop is, I want to believe that, well, let me not say no matter how big, let me not underestimate the vision of people doing that business. But if you are a vulcanizer, I have been doing this thing for 10 years, and you are still at that same spot, nothing have added to your shop, nothing has increased. What is the problem? When I see these things all the time, like I'm heartbroken. Like, is it that these people are not thinking? Is it that this person is not thinking of, like, don't you want a better life? I'm not saying everybody should be wealthy, everybody should be rich in that sense. But what I'm saying that what we have seen is that God expects us to move in life. He expects us to move regardless of your position. Even if you think you have made it, God expects you to move. You cannot be stagnant. You cannot stay one place. You cannot stay on a single spot. It's either you are retrogressing or you are progressing. You cannot be in the middle. Now imagine myself and I'll say, okay, I've arrived. You know, when I started my career in 2012, when I started from the Cyber Cafe, my goal was always to become a world-class software developer, software engineer. That was always my goal, career-wise. That's always been my goal, to become a world-class software engineer. World class in that sense would mean that you have worked for big tech companies internationally. I mean, for you to be able to work for this kind of company, there's something you have that maybe other people don't have. Most time it could be exposure, most time it could be, but my goal then was to become a world-class software engineer. So right now, looking in hindsight to where I am right now in my career, I can say I've gotten to that place. There's nothing else to pursue. To some extent, I can buy whatever I want to buy. I can eat whatever I want to eat. I have a roof over my head. I have little investment here and there. So I can say, oh, I've arrived. This is the life that I prayed for. Then I'm fine. But no, I'm still chasing towards that dream life. But do I mean that I'm not grateful for where I am today? I am grateful. For I know that I cannot be in one position. There's something more. So I'm chasing that something more. Because I understand that for those who have more is given. To some extent, I have more. So, but it has to come from the place of chasing the unknown. This is what people are scared of. A lot of people are scared of chasing this ideal life. Because why? It feels like it is unknown. The one that I can see, let me manage it and survive. Why will I be chasing something that I have not seen? I know it's going to take a lot from me. Why will I chase what I have not seen that's going to stress me? Hey, I'm getting 1K from this work. Hey, let me be getting the 1K. So provided I'm feeding, I'm surviving, I'm fine, I'm okay. I don't want to do past this. That is the problem. It is the problem. People are comfortable with where they are, and that has blinded them from seeing where God wants them to be or what they can become if only they can embrace the unknown and move. This is not a good place to be at all. It's a dangerous spot to be. And this is why we have a lot of people who are, in quotes, stagnant. So the question is, how bad do you want this second life? How bad do you want to get here? If you want this place so bad, then you need to realize that you have to move. Movement is very important to that life that you want to become. You don't need to cling towards what you have now because of the fear of, I might lose this. Let me give you another practical example, right? Now, God has blessed you with a lot. Let's say God has blessed you with 10 million. And you know that there's a way you can invest that 10 million and that 10 million can bring 100 million. But your survival mindset will tell you that, bro, not try move. Don't put that 10 million anywhere. That 10 million you have like this, it will be enough for you to survive for the next 5 years. Just use that 10 million and be surviving. You see the two mindsets. One mindset says, no, there's an opportunity for me to increase this 10 million towards 100 million. Is that there's no risk? No, there's risk. But what is no risk in life? Life itself is a risk, right? But this person is saying that, no, I know there's a risk. And I'm going to risk investing this 10 million to get 100 million. Why the other person says, no, I prefer to hold on to this 10 million and use it to survive. This is called the survival trap. It's a very, very, very deadly place to be. Trust me. Now, using myself as an example again, I can say I have all the knowledge I want to become successful in my career. I can say I don't need to learn anything. I can say I don't need to do more. Where I am right now is where a lot of people are dreaming to be. So I am comfortable. I can be like that. I can stay like that. But if I tell you that in the last 5 months, I've spent close to $5,000 in self-development, will you believe it? Because I know that there's more to get. There's more to achieve. And that will come from me seeing that there's more to achieve and then do what? Pursue that achievement. And that will have to come with a lot of sacrifices. One of which is learning. One of which is investments. Going that extra mile to learn, going that extra mile to push yourself. So the summary of this class is that life rewards expansion and life punishes stagnation. Just like the Matthew principle, it says that those who have more will be given, and those who have little, more should be taken. I wrote something in my book. I'm going to read it from here. I think I wrote this thing in 2024. And what I titled this book, what I titled it here was, why do large majority of people settle for less? So what I wrote here was that, and I would like us to end with this, the lesser your energy and desire to do something about your current situation, the higher the chance for you to remain there. But the higher your energy and desire to do something and change your current situation, the lesser for you to remain there. So at the end of the day, the choice is yours. Again, how bad do you want it? You guys need to understand that we live in a universe that is governed by principles. Not necessarily because of your religion or religious background. We live in a cycle that is moved by principles. And one of those principles is what I already explained, cause and effect. One of them is the parable of the talents. So at the end of the day, the ball is in your court. The energy to move to where you want to be will have to come from desire. And that is different between those people that advance in life and those people that don't. Welcome to my class.